Today I'm joined by Chris Brinklow, the organizer of the Border City Card Show, and he's here today to tell us a little bit about this semi-annual event. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Chris.
Thanks a lot for having me, Thomas. Yeah, it's great to have this event again. We actually have it twice a year. First one is usually in March, and then the next one is in October. And we do that because it kind of hits different points in the hobby collecting, especially in the hobby hockey part of the hobby, where we have Series One coming out in October, and that's kind of the big upper deck uh, mainstay, I guess, that's been around since the 90s, early 90s. And then back in March, where the last part of the series comes out. And so that's kind of what the hockey hobby kind of sits around. But that's not all that this show is about. There's going to be Magic the Gathering. There's a tournament that's put on by Border City Games, and that's going to be fantastic. A lot of fun for them. That's going to be taking place on the stage at the casino, and then also there's Pokemon. There's other, sports and interests as far as the hobby collecting goes.
And where did the idea to host a local event like this come from?
So I have to be honest, I don't know a lot about Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. I mean, I know some of it, but I don't know a lot about the value and what's all a part of it. But that's why we have folks like for our friends at Border City Games who they have games on a nightly basis. They have the best collection in town. So they are the ones that really can speak towards everything that related. For myself, I've been a card collector since the early 80s. My brother was a card collector since the early 70s. So he had some of the old Montreal Canadian rookies like Guy Lafleur and Ken Dryden. So when I saw him with his old OPC collection, obviously that spurred me on to collect cards when I was a kid. And as a kid, you don't really take very much care of it. I wish I did because I would have been not living in this house. I would have had a much better mansion, I'm sure, by now if I would have paid more attention as a child. But that's one thing that this hobby does bring out is your inner child. And it's just a lot of fun to collect. It's a fun hobby. Sometimes it does get costly, depends on what player you're chasing. But it's something that we've seen grow, especially over COVID. A lot of people had time on their hands, and so they started collecting. And 20, I guess 2020, when the series of 1920 was out, that really caught fire, and then it's just growing. And then Connor Bedard's rookie card came out this last year, and that just really injected a sense of here's an all-star player. People are chasing this card. It's still going for $450 fresh out of a pack. So it's one of those things where this hobby is continuously growing. We have a fresh crop of new rookies coming out this year. The release for Upper Deck Series One is next week, Friday, which I believe is, or no, not even next week, Friday. It's like 2 days before the show. So we're going to have fresh boxes at the show for sure. But it's just really been growing. And we've seen collectors who used to be in it in the 90s come back and be like, hey, you know what? I kind of missed this. I got out of it for a while, but now we're back. And that's kind of my story. But my friend Braden, who also manages this event with me, he's a great guy to be working with, and he also has a nice collection. We collect different, but same. And he's more does some baseball and football, but yeah, it's fun to meet everybody and see what they got in their collection and in their stock and what they're willing to move for. Also, the timing of this event is amazing because it's right before Christmas, 2 months before Christmas. So it's a good time to start Christmas shopping if you have a hobby collector in your family. And it's just, it's also for good cause.
And finally, Chris, you mentioned that you guys are raising money for a great cause. What is that cause, and where is this event going to be taking place, and when?
It is for a cause. We are raising money for Lloydminster's United Way, and they have a couple of projects going on with helping some people that maybe are in need for education and in need for help with the family. So the United Way certainly covers a lot of areas in our community, and whether we're just raising a few $100 or whatever it is, every little bit helps. And so proceeds of the door, which is $5, that goes towards um, the United Way. And also, we're having a special guest. I didn't have to reach too far to find an NHL alumni right here in our town, Mr. Jeff Wawitka, our Bobcats coach. He has gladly agreed to come out and sign some autographs. Jeff was originally drafted, I believe, by the Oilers and then traded to St. Louis in a Chris Pronger deal, and then made his NHL debut in St. Louis and played with the Blues for a bit. Didn't have a long NHL career. I mean, at his age, Jeff could still be playing, but anyways, so we're glad to have Jeff come out. He'll be there from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. And it's just going to be a great show. We have a raffle. Proceeds of the raffle are also going to United Way. So it's going to be a fantastic time at the casino October 19th, running from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. And we encourage everybody, whether you're new to the hobby, been around the hobby for a long time, or you found some stuff in your basement and you want to see what it's worth, PSA will be there accepting submissions, and that's the best grading company there is in the market. So we have we have companies and groups from Edmonton, Froggers, and Capital City Sports Cards. So we have collectors from everywhere that are coming here and taking part in this show.
Thank you so much for all the information today, Chris, and we look forward to yet another great Border City Card Show.